Hey, everybody. Good morning. Today, I'm going to do a real quick look and we're just going to do a little chat. I went live in my book group yesterday and we have had a lot of snow here. Should have grabbed this before I got on live, something to hold my hair back. I did get my hair cut, y'all. I don't know if you all can tell. My daughter um, cut my hair and I'm a little more happy with it than I was. I'm just happy to have hair, but I keep thinking that oh, I want to let my hair grow out. And invariably, every single time I do that, I'm like, I am not happy with it. So I just had her cut it. So I'm going to have to resign myself that I'm going to have to keep my hair short, my biological hair. Good news is, anytime I want hair of any length, I can get a wig. And somehow my monitor has come unhooked here. Hold on just a minute, girls. I don't know what's caused that. I'll have to get that later. It's not going in here right now. And let me put these on because I have a feeling that you can hear me better if I have this up here. Make sure I've got these in the right ear. Now, that may be a little bit better. Sometimes I have trouble when I go live on my computer with the volume. I don't know why that is, but this kind of helps. So I forgot to put these in when I started. So I hope you all are having a great day. So far, so good. It snowed here last week, something that it normally doesn't do here in East Tennessee very often, but we got some snow and we got probably about 3 or 4 inches, which is really unusual. We'll have snow showers every now and then, but it won't be anything that's, it won't be, have any significance to it. But this had some significance to it. So I'm going to actually try putting my makeup on today with this powder puff. I'm going to see how this goes because I actually washed my brushes. I am going to Nashville this week to see Ringo Starr at the Ryman. And so when I travel, one thing I always do is I wash my makeup brushes. I've been trying to do better with those brushes. I'm terrible, y'all. I tell people how often that they need to brush because people wash, and I, say, oh, once a week, but I'm terrible about that. And I don't know anybody that does that once a week. But you can go in between by using a makeup brush cleaner. And I don't normally use a lot of that either. I just kind of wash mine in the sink with some mild soap or some kind of mild shampoo and just make sure I rinse it out real good. I wash mine this time with my daughter had told me you could wash your hands with some Suave shampoo, that it made a really nice hand cleaner. And so I'm like, I wonder if I could use this to clean my brushes. And let me tell y'all, it worked great. It cut through all the my biggest thing on makeup are 2 things. My powder brushes are not exceptionally dirty, but my foundation brush, when I use one, gets really, really dirty. And it is hard to cut through makeup with just soap and water. You almost have to have something like Dawn or one of the Mary Kay. I use a Mary Kay soap normally to do it, but Dawn dishwashing liquid will. But I was like, I'm gonna try this with this shampoo, and it worked like a charm. I mean, it really. Look here. I'll show you one of them that I did. This one is my biggest challenge. This one right here. And you can see there's a couple of spots maybe that I missed, but this, because the makeup gets down inside here, it is really hard to get it out. But this is the cleanest this brush has been in literally in years since I've had that brush, and I've washed it, but it's just hard to get that out of there. But it really works. So I'm just going to pass that along to you. So I actually just used um, this tinted hydrator from Wet n Wild. Love me a good Wet n Wild. So that's what I've been using for foundation because I like it. It's really smooth. It's got hyaluronic acid in it, and it doesn't break the bank to buy it. It isn't heavy. It's really lightweight. I like this product. Now, today I'm going to do something just really quick and easy with, I'm not using a whole lot of products. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my concealer if I can find it. Here it is. And I also wanted to read you all something that I wrote over the weekend. So if you can hang with me till the end of this, till I get my makeup on, then I will read this to everybody and y'all can tell me what you think. Now, I'm just putting a little bit here to as a highlighter here because it doesn't take very much effort to do any of that stuff. So I'm just kind of pouncing it everywhere to try to get a little bit of coverage. And I'm looking over here on the side, y'all, because I've got my mirror set up over here. I'm going to just rub that in on my eye. I really just I'm using my fingers more and more. It seems like I can get a better application with this on my lid with my finger because you don't want to rub too hard on your eyelid. And I really don't, especially after I've had cataract surgery. I'm really conscious that there's a lens in there now. It's not my original. It doesn't go with the original model. So I really try to, be careful of that. I don't have to. My doctor didn't tell me to, but I'm just paranoid. So now I'm going to take my little pointy puff, and I'm just going to blend that in and blend it in all the way around. I'm going to turn my makeup mirror over to the scary side and take a look, make sure I got that in there, a little bit right there, and blend that in nice and smooth. Get it as smooth as I possibly can. And don't worry, we're going to go over all this with some translucent powder. So to smooth everything out and give me a photo finish. That really does help if you have translucent powder. It really does help to give you a really clean and polished look. So I'm going to take another little powder puff and go over that here in just a minute. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go in with this pillow puff from Ulta. And I truly wish, I've said this before, but I truly wish Mary Kay would come up with something like this because I love this product. I'm going to use some dots. This is kind of almost like it's a highlighter, but I use it as a bronzer, and sometimes I use it to contour, and I'm gonna do that today right there. Just a little bit right there on my nose. That's a little bit more than what I wanted to get, but okay, that's fine. I'll work with it. And then I'm gonna just take a little powder puff, and I'm gonna blend it in. Now, this is going to give you a little bit of illumination. So if you don't want that, don't use this because this is actually an illuminator. It's going to illuminate your skin, but I actually like the way it looks, and I I kind of feel like that the older I get on my I'm not talking about eyeshadow because I will probably till the day I die wear sparkly eyeshadow. But on my skin itself, I really like something that is a little bit shiny because I think it gives me more of a dewy type finish. I don't know if I've gotten that up there good enough, but that's good enough for that's good enough for us. I'm going to take next the brow tint. This is the blonde, and I'm just going to kind of smooth it out a little bit. And we're going to call that a day. So after I've done all that, I'm going to go in. No, I'm not going to do that yet. Let me put a little bit of this on my cheeks because I'm trying to keep it simple. I don't want to use a separate cheek color. So let me just put some of this right up in here to give me some color. Let's just blend it in. Y'all, I've been very, very thankful that I have not had to get out this mess. Um, I saw some pictures online because, I live in the South, okay? We don't know how to drive in the snow. For all my Yankee friends, let me just make this clear. We cannot drive in the snow. We get no practice in it because it doesn't snow here very often. And when it does, you know, people just we don't know how to drive in it. And that's just the way it is. It's not like you can go somewhere and practice unless you want to drive, 300, 400 miles. and do it. So we don't know. So I try not to drive in it because people don't know how to drive. So I try to stay in and, be cozy and drink some hot tea and all that, or hot chocolate and all that good stuff. I'm gonna take a little bit of this translucent powder. I'm gonna pat this over my entire face. This helps set your foundation if you don't want to use a setting spray. And I don't use a setting spray all the time. I don't use one unless I'm really going to be somewhere where I really need a long wear look. And I seldom anymore need that because I'm not in the workplace like I was. And I'm just, not. And my little job that I had to honestly had to give it up. And I felt so bad about that, but the store was just huge and I just could not keep up with it. I couldn't. So I, talked to the manager and I'm going to apply at a smaller store later on this year. So that's kind of where I'm at with that because I couldn't do it. I was tired. I would come home and I couldn't even hardly walk. And at some point you have to just admit that you are the age you are on some things. Now, there's some things I will never admit that I'm 69. But, some things you just have to admit, I just can't do this all day. I can't do this for 8 hours. I know an option, I could have cut back maybe to 4 hours, but if I did that, then I would have had to work 4 to 5 days a week, and I just really do not wanna have my time tied up like that, because if I wanna go out of town or something, like I'm getting ready to do Wednesday this week, um, then, that's an issue. Now I'm gonna put some of this right up in underneath here because I want to see. I tried this the other day under my eye, and I normally don't put anything under my eye like this because I think it makes the wrinkles look worse and more prominent. But I tried applying it with this powder puff the other day, and I actually liked it. And it does conceal pretty good, and it still looks good, the next day, or not the next day. It still looks good, later on in the day. So it didn't seem this powder doesn't settle in your wrinkles like a setting powder or anything's going to because it's white. So you're not going to have that issue. Now, if I had been smart before I got on this live today, I would have went and um, ran my beauty blender under the water and went all over my face with that beauty blender, but I didn't do that because I wasn't smart today. I just came in here and sat down and started doing this, and there you have it. So, there's that. So, I'm gonna get another one of these pillow puff colors, and I'm gonna put just a little bit on the end of my nose just to give it a little bit of a highlight there, a little bit right in there. I'm not using much. I mean, I'm just barely touching this because this is pretty, bright. I'm gonna go right in here on my eye. Let me get that. I can still see a little bit of that darker color right there. Let me blend that down just a little bit. And I'm actually gonna just go a little bit on my lid. I'm not using much, just enough to cover up that concealer and to give my eyes just a little bit of a shimmer. I'm not gonna put a lot of eye makeup on today, but I do want my eyes to look bright. So after I've done that, I'm gonna use the bronze um, liner. Let me get over here and I'm almost out of the frame, girls, when I do this, and I'm sorry, but I got to I got to see what I'm doing here. And I've tried this set up several ways, and this is still the best way to do it. And I'm just using a little bit of this to give me a little bit of definition. And I really like this. This is a bronzy color. This is a limited edition. I may still have a couple of these though. So if you would like one, just let me know and I'll see if I've got any. I don't think they're available from the home office anymore. They probably are not. So, there's that. That just kind of defines the eye just a little bit. And I'm gonna actually take a Q-tip, and I'm gonna just kinda blend it, and I'm kind of using this as a little bit, not so much as a liner, but as a little bit of eyeshadow, and I'm just kind of blending that up. I'm just going for something really simple today, ladies. I'm not looking for anything hard or difficult or complicated or anything like that. I'm gonna use a little bit, just a fuzz of this matte eyeshadow right in here to kinda tone down that shimmer just a bit. Not that it did a lot, but just I don't want a lot. I want just enough to tone it. Just enough to tone it down a little bit and not make it quite as bright right there on my lid. If that worked or not. Let me get a good look in here in this mirror. It's hard to tell sometimes until it looks things look really different in the viewfinder than they do in person. So that's always a challenge. So next I'm going to hunt my mascara down. There it is. I'm using the um ultimate, is it the ultimate mascara. I usually use Fanorama, but this time when I needed some mascara, I hadn't used the ultimate mascara in a while, and I had a couple of extras on hand with this, and so I just thought, well, I'll use that. And so that's what I got. So I do like it. I like the way it separates your lashes. It does lengthen them, make them look a little bit longer. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. Let me know if you all got snow, because 2 to 3 inches here, I know all my friends in Michigan are probably thinking I'm nuts, but 2 to 3 inches here is a lot. So let me know if you all got any snow this weekend. I did not go to church this weekend because it was, because of the snow. And like I said, I just do not drive in it unless, unless it would have to be an emergency for me to drive in the snow. So there wasn't an emergency, so therefore I did not drive in the snow. So I'm just going to tap that down, pounce that in just a little bit. I didn't put anything else on here. I'm just kind of pouncing that down just a bit. Now that I've done that, I'm going to use the lip liner and a lip gloss. This is Beige Nude that I'm using. I don't really have anything interesting to tell you all, other than I did take my Christmas decorations down, the rest of them. I had most of them up, and this year I was going to do a home tour, and there's just been so much going on. I just didn't have a chance or an opportunity to really film it. And I took most everything down except some of my winter stuff, because I like to leave that up for a couple of weeks afterward, just because um, you know, it's still winter. But Valentine's Day is coming up. So after Valentine's Day, I'll probably put up a few spring stuff, because for some reason I always have in my mind that after Christmas, after New Year's, it needs to turn warm. We need to have warmth. And I sometimes forget we got 2.5, 3 months more of winter. Now, I love winter. I love fall. Fall is my favorite time of year. You can't beat the smell of a good bonfire. And I like to carry all that right on in through Christmas. Thanksgiving and everything. I like to have everything just carried on through till Christmas, because I love that time of year. And I honestly don't mind the snow, because we don't get enough of it down here for me to worry about. Let me fix my hair, girls. It's kind of side ogling, as my granddad used to say. But I don't normally mind that, but um, I've noticed this year that I have really felt the cold a lot more than I have in the past. And I think some of it is because I'm now living in a basement. Yes, I am indeed a basement dweller. So I think that is some of it is because my apartment is down here in the basement of the house. And because you can see there's my bed. And this is the big room here that I've got, you know, my bed's in here. I'm sitting right now in my office part of this. And believe it or not, I don't know if it's because this room is so large. And I've got another room out here that's my sitting area, and my kitchen is over here on this side. And I'll do a home tour. Um, Here probably in the next maybe I can do that in the next couple of weeks if I can get my house cleaned up where it looks good and I can get past this Nashville trip. But I don't know if it's because this room is so big, but I feel like I can get I- it's more usable than what I even had in my condo, even though I had two separate bedrooms and two baths. Now I've only got one bathroom here, so that was kind of a challenge because I have a lot of stuff that goes in the bathroom because I have like 500 failed hair products that I've tried that I don't want to throw away. But y'all would have been proud of me because this week I went through my bathroom. I cleaned my bathroom really, really good because I like to do a deep clean every so often in there, not just wiping everything down and just a quick clean. But I mean, I really like to get in there and scrub and get everything good and clean. And I like to clean out all my under the sink. And it had been a couple of months since I had really done just what I would call a real deep clean where I clean the cabinets and, take stuff out and clean all that kind of stuff. So I did that last week. And I didn't realize I started pulling stuff out from under the sink and I didn't realize how much I had under there. And I was like, oh Lord. So I did get rid of some of all those hair products that were epic fails. So y'all will be happy to know about that. I actually did wear a wig a couple of times last week. And I know I made a video in my group on Facebook about that. And I'm pretty sure that I had one on here when I was doing my makeup one day last week because honestly, I couldn't do anything. I could do nothing with this mess here, but that's okay. I've got hair again and I'm happy, but I have gone through another little shedding spell. And I think that was part of the problem is my hair started shedding again. But it seems to have stopped for the moment, and some of it I think has just I've had so much going on, and I think, with my job and then, me realizing, well, no, you're not gonna be physically able to do this, and having to quit, and then I was sick for a week, and it's been a lot going on. So, at any rate, I wanted to read this for you all, and this is something I posted in my Facebook group and on my personal I don't know if I posted it in the group or on my personal Facebook page. I think I posted on my first personal, Facebook page. So let me get over there to it, and I want to read this to you all. And I've been reading through the Old Testament as part of my reading plan. I'm planning on reading the Bible all the way through, this year. So I looked at reading plans, and then on my Bible app on my phone, they've got one where there's no commentary, you just read the Bible. And I started off with one where I read the commentary and I was like, this is just isn't getting it for me. I just need the word of God right now in my life. There's just, like I said, there's a lot going on and that's what I need. So I've been reading through the book of Genesis. That's where it starts. Genesis, I mean basic patriarchal stuff. And so I had been reading about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Obviously, that's how Genesis starts out. And now I started today my first chapter of Exodus, but this is about Genesis, the 29th chapter, verses 16 and 17. It reads like this. Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. That is the ESV version. Now, if you have a different version, That's great. I'm not picky about which version you use. I ascribe to what Dr. Michael Heiser said is the best translation of the Bible is the one you will read. So whichever one you read that you can get the most out of, that's one that you need to get. So after I wrote that, I wrote, "This always seems to be a weird passage. Leah's eyes were weak. What does that even mean?" Well, I did a little digging this morning, and this is what I discovered. Perhaps it wasn't just weak eyes. There is some debate amongst Bible people who know way more than I do about the Hebrew language, but I'm going to attempt to put down here what I found out. The word weak is also translated, my goodness, this keeps going away. The word weak is also translated tender eyes or dull, and listless, lacking sparkle. That was interesting to me. I did hear one theory that I really liked, and that's what I'm going with today. Perhaps this whole Leah's eyes were weak is an idiom, kind of like things we say here in the South, like he's dumber than a box of hammers, or she could eat corn through a picket fence. No one is actually dumber than a box of hammers or could eat corn through a picket fence, although that dumber thing than a box of hammers could potentially be accurate if we get right down to it. But I digress. No, we say these things to illustrate a point, and they're rather unkind, to be honest. Perhaps this passage merely alludes to the fact that Leah wasn't as good looking as Rachel, and subsequently, Rachel was the one. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't think, I don't know that this just keeps going away. And subsequently, Rachel was the one that Jacob chose instead of Leah. Let me read that again. We say these things to illustrate a point, and perhaps this passage merely alludes to the fact that Leah wasn't as good looking as Rachel. And subsequently, Rachel was the one Jacob chose instead of Leah. But hang with me for a minute. And y'all, I want to break right here and say that those things were just used as an illustration, those sayings that we have here in the South, merely to illustrate what an idiom actually is. So I'm not saying any of that stuff is something that we need to do, but at any rate, it was Leah who gave birth. Sorry, guys. This is just not wanting me to read this. It was Leah who gave birth to Judah. It was Leah who was fruitful. And to be even more specific, it wasn't Leah who hid her father's false gods under her camel's seat. These Old Testament stories are just loaded with controversy, aren't they? It is worth noting that Leah's first three children, Reuben, Simeon, and Levi, were named so because of her lack of love by Jacob. And you can look those up if you need to know what the meaning of Reuben, Simeon, and Levi are. That's interesting, an interesting study in itself. She was lamenting the fact that Jacob didn't love her. But by the time she has her fourth child, Judah, Leah appears to have come to her own epiphany, and she simply said, "This time I will praise the Lord." And praise is what Judah means in Hebrew. It effectively removed her focus from her being an unloved woman to being a blessed woman in a culture that placed great emphasis on having sons. Leah eventually had six sons and a daughter. Do I have a point? Yes, I do, if I can actually get to it. Oftentimes, we are faced with two different choices. As Robert Frost wrote, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. One path usually looks more inviting than the other, sparkly eyed, if you will. The other may look dull and uninvited and uninviting. Maybe we need to give that second path another look. It isn't always the lovely, the beautiful, or the enticing that we need to choose. Sometimes the plain, the steady, the sturdy is what we need. It certainly was in Jacob's case. It is interesting to note that Jacob was buried beside Leah, not Rachel. Now the circumstances surrounding their deaths were different, and this posting isn't meant to bash Rachel in any way. God used Rachel's son Joseph to save the entire family and ultimately the Hebrew nation. And God used Leah's son, Judah's lineage, to birth our Messiah, Jesus Christ. Both were essential in God's plan. I am merely pointing out that considering the meek and the lowly choice and assigning it equal weight as the bright, shiny, and sparkly thing is wisdom. For a moment, consider these two pictures below, and these are the pictures, just so you can get a visual. Let me find where I was at, girls. One is a dull matte finish, the other shiny and bright, both lovely in their own way. Lord knows I am the only person in the world who would compare this to nail polish, but there you have it. Happy Sun, and I put happy Sunday. May the Lord be with you, my friends. So here is the picture again, in case you would like to see. This is the shiny nail over here and the matte over here. And both of them are lovely. I love both of them. In fact, I didn't have any idea that the Lord was going to lay this on my heart to write and share, but I had just had my nails done last week and they are matte. So let's take a moment this week to consider things that may look a little dull to us. It may not be something that is outstanding, it may be ordinary, but God is often in the ordinary, and He can take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. And that is what I've been thinking about the last few days. And I don't think my life is particularly extraordinary. I don't think I'm particularly extraordinary. I'm kind of plain. I don't consider myself dull, but I I'm not something that a person would glance at twice, other than the fact that I'm 4 feet 10 inches tall and I'm the shortest person usually around. So for those of us who have always felt like maybe we were just a tad reduced or reductive in some way, just remember that the Lord loves you just as much as He loves that sparkly, shiny one. And sometimes that's the one that we need to really consider, not just in persons, but in circumstances as well. I know this is something personally that I struggle with because I always am attracted to something shiny or something unusual or oddities. This friend of mine once expressed to me that I was attracted to oddities, and it's true. I am. I like odd looking things. I like um, things that are different. And you can tell by looking at my home that I definitely do that with home decor. And I also like people who are considered different and odd. My posse of friends are each unique, but we all are each unique in our own way. And I don't, mean to call my friends odd, but we're all different and unique in our own ways. Whether you are bright and shiny or whether you are, the one that gets overlooked sometimes. We all have that uniqueness about us. But I'm speaking today specifically for the ones who maybe have felt overlooked in their lives. God doesn't overlook you. He didn't overlook Leah. In fact, He used Leah to do the most miraculous thing that's ever happened on planet Earth. He also used Leah, as one of my friends pointed out. She was the mother of Levi, and the priesthood was established through the Levitical line. So you've got extraordinary things to do too, my friends. And I can't wait to see what God is going to do in your life. It doesn't matter if you're 6, 60, or 106. If you are still breathing in and out on this earth, God has things for you to do. And He has extraordinary things for you to do. Even if you think it's mundane or it doesn't matter, let me tell you something. I had a friend years ago that was going on a mission trip, and I didn't have any money to give her because at the time I was very pressed for money. And so I told her, I said, I don't know that I have any money to help you with this. And she said, well, she said, it's okay because the Lord the Lord, she said, I was praying about it the other day and I really felt like that even if a person could give $1 or $5, it helps just as much as somebody who gives 1,000. So I pondered what she said and I prayed about it and I was like, I can give $5. I can. I can give $5 to her mission trip. And I did. Next Sunday, I went to church and I went to church with her and I brought it and gave it to her and cried and she cried. And it was, just a moment that we had there. And I am just a part of that, as much a part of that mission trip as the person who gave more because I gave out of need and want because I really didn't have much, but I could give $5. So even if you have to, even you can take that $5 analogy and extrapolate that to other areas in your life. Even if you have nothing to give but your time, that's important. Even if you have nothing to give but take a pie to your neighbor, you never know how that touches somebody's heart. Listen, guys, I hope you all have a fabulous week. I will keep you informed. I'm going to take a lot of pictures at Ringo, so I will post pictures. As I said earlier, I'm going to go see Ringo Starr at the Ryman this week, and so I will post pictures for sure. So y'all have a wonderful day. I love you guys. Bye bye. May the Lord be with you this week.